Good afternoon. This Township of Selwyn regular council meeting for Tuesday, May the 14th, 2024 will come to order. You'll notice that all council members are wearing a piece of moose hide. The Moose Hide campaign is an Indigenous-led grassroots movement of men and boys and all Canadians who are standing up against violence towards women and children. Wearing this moose hide signifies your commitment to honor, respect, and protect women and children in your life and to work together to end violence against women and children and all those along the gender continuum. Help spread the Moose Hide campaign by sharing with your family, communities, and organizations. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to the First Peoples for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. Please observe a moment of silence so that council, staff, and members of the public can quietly reflect on our duty to the community that we are trying to serve. Thank you. Members of the public, staff, presenters, and members of council, please be advised that meetings are broadcast and recorded and made available on the internet. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest of the general nature thereof? Seeing none, please note that in the minutes. We have our minutes of April the 23rd, 2024, and the special council meeting of April the 23rd, 2024. Can I have someone move those minutes, please? Moved by Councillor Koulis, seconded by Councillor Boyko. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And is there any discussion out of the minutes? Seeing none, we do have a couple of public meetings, but they're not scheduled till 1:30, so we will jump down to our question period. Are there any questions?
No questions.
Thank you very much. So now we'll go to municipal officers and staff reports. And first up, we have Mike Richardson, Manager of Recreation Services, that is going to talk about our capital projects. Mike.
Sorry about that. Through you, Madam Mayor. As you're aware, from the audit report that was completed last year, and it was presented to council. $200,000 was being recommended to put aside for capital projects listed in that report per year. But due to the timing, we wanted to take some time to make sure we went through it, prioritized, planned, and prepared for the potential projects for 2024. The first report that I'm presenting today has 5 projects listed in that, and they're all necessary work that was listed in the report that was presented, and are at various facilities throughout the township, have been discussed with the management team, and are all things that we need to get done, but also feel we can get completed within this calendar year. There's a little bit of room left in the $200,000 threshold in case there's further work that's required after some of this work gets done, and also in case there's other things that become urgent this year that have fallen within the categories listed by the audit report. If there's any questions, certainly.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Mike? Councillor Boyko.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Senes. The question I have, Mike, is about the Ennismore Arena slab. We were made aware, council was made aware that the arena is nearing the end of its life. At least the cement holding the ice surface is nearing the end of its life. Will this work extend the life of that cement under the ice surface for a little while. Is there a prediction of that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, that's certainly one of the reasons why our refrigeration contractor has recommended this. Otherwise, they would be saying, let's start the work to replace, because there isn't an option, but this repair has been successful at other places. I contacted a few other arenas that have had this the same treatment, the same service. It's a lot like RadStop. If any of us have ever used Radiator Stop in our vehicles, it's a very similar product. It goes through, gets circulated around for 30 days and seals up any holes. There's some fairly minor holes that we've eliminated any possibilities in the header or in the trench or at the equipment end. And it must be in the slab. It is a 50-year-old slab, and we have a 40-year-old chiller. So there's things in the arena that are at their useful life. So that's why we made council aware of it previously. We hoped that this would not be something we would have to do, but we're not losing so much of the brine, which really is just like brine, salt, and there's no harmful chemical involved here, but at the same time, we do need to make sure that we're not having to top it up at all times. And this should get us, they're thinking 3 to 5 years. But they really, it's an estimate on that, but it is to extend the life, absolutely. And to make sure that we're not having any further loss of brine during this time.
That's good news then. It'll extend that the need for the major expenditure a little ways into the future. That's good news. Thank you.
Councillor Kulis.
Through you. Thanks, Mike. What does this mean for the user groups using the ice pad this summer? Sorry, the concrete pad this summer, like ball hockey groups?
Through you, Madam Mayor, absolutely nothing. They won't even notice a difference. It literally is internal. So everything is it'll be injected from the refrigeration room. We did some repairs. The header trench is in front of the windows and just basically a bunch of pipes and valves at the top end of it so that you can do some repairs, or you can do service work on it. They won't even notice. Matter of fact, if they don't listen to this council meeting, they will have no idea that we've even had to do it.
Thank you.
All right. If there are no other questions, we do have a recommendation in front of us. So can I have someone move the recommendation? Deputy Mayor Black and Councillor Boyko, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. And Mike, you're up again talking about the replacement of the ball diamond lights at the Robert E. Young Complex in Ennismore.
Sorry. Through you, Madam Mayor, just trying to get all of them open. I wasn't thinking that would be quite that. I knew I was early in the council meeting, but I didn't think it was going to jump quite that quickly. In 1976, that's when Robert E. Young Complex had that ball diamond put in. The poles are that age. We've had 2 of them snap over the last 5 years. And this year we had another one go. Fortunately, it did not damage the new fence that it landed on. It landed on the post, and the fence had been replaced last year. So that was my first concern. We are beyond its useful life, and when it comes to the poles, we're kind of on borrowed time, and we've got all lower efficiency metal halide lights that are there and have been for several decades. So the opportunity to make sure that we upgrade and decrease our carbon footprint by about 50% of consumption, and make sure that we make it safe and even better, because like many things, lighting has improved a lot over the last 30 years. So we can better light, we can do it more efficiently, and we can keep people safe. So that's why this recommendation's there.
Absolutely. It's kind of urgent work.
It
given
is,
that-
yeah, it definitely falls under section 6 of the procurement policy, of something that we have to do before. We don't want a service interruption, but we really don't want anyone to be hurt.
For sure. Are there any questions? Councillor Kulis.
Through you, thanks. I have two questions. So the first one relates same to the cement pad. Are the users going to be disrupted, and for how long? Is there anything we should know about that?
So we haven't had any interruptions. We did have to move people over to Bridge North because we didn't have lights available. We have bypassed one of the, so right now, the light standard on the first base side is not, that's the one that came down. But we were able to bypass and we will be using the lighted system. So there won't be any service interruption. It won't be as nice to play. But we did get lucky because it had been in one of the outfield lights, it wouldn't have been playable. We would have had to keep people over at Bridge North. We did have openings at Bridge North, so we actually were able to accommodate. We haven't interrupted anybody's season. Mother Nature's doing that far better than the lights.
It was rained out last week.
Yeah.
And follow up through you again. So I know in the past, and this is before I've been on council, but more so because my husband was the president for the men's league on Wednesday night, and the constant complaint was that the center field light was too low. It's in your eyes at night. So with these upgrades, were you thinking about increasing the height of some of these poles, or even attending to other user groups' questions? Or is it just going back to the exact same?
So yes, the center field light, the pole is being increased in height. But far more importantly is the type of lighting. There is an LED sport light that spreads and isn't as stark. It's part of the increase or the improvements in technology. So this is a high performance sport floodlight. So it covers better without as much brightness to it. So yes, it's a little higher in center field only, but the light quality, they will notice a massive difference in it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Black.
Thank you through you, Mayor Senes. So now that the members of that league have been informed that they'll no longer have that as an excuse for they can have plenty of time to figure out new excuses for not
Yeah.
able to hit the ball. Just a question around the are the poles are the aluminum, wood, or cement? What's the
So through you, Madam Mayor, the existing poles are wood.
Okay.
And the replacement poles are also going to be wood. So it'd be the pole is going to be like for like, except the type of treatment is slightly different than what it would have been. But yeah, they're going to be a pressure treated pole specifically for this purpose. Yeah.
Is the cost for the aluminum and cement type poles more expensive because they'll have a longer life cycle, I would imagine?
They do considerably more expensive.
Considerably more,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. There's not. Yeah, if it was something that was within a few $1,000s, it would have been something to consider.
Yeah.
Especially since the other ones were replaced in wood, but it would be tens of thousands of dollars to replace them in.
Thank you.
Yeah, if they get another 50 years, then we won't have to worry about them.
Councillor Poulos has a third question.
I'm sorry, I should have added this. Do you have a time frame? Because I'm sure we're gonna get asked about it.
Sorry,
Time
Do you have
frame.
a time frame?
time frame. Right now the poles have been replaced already. So now we're waiting on the arms and the lights. I honestly don't have a really good time frame from them. The supplier had ordered them as soon as we declared there was an emergency purchase. They said 4 to 6 weeks, so it wouldn't be worse than that, which should put us in end of May to mid June at the absolute latest. But we're hoping for sooner than that. I've asked for a bit of an update on it, and we could certainly share that if we got something fairly accurate.
Okay, thank you. So we have the recommendation before us, and is to receive the report and the fact that this money is going to be coming out of reserves because we didn't anticipate it in the budget. So can I have someone move that? Councillor Poulos. And seconder, Councillor Boyko, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And Mike, you're up again.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Just want to load the Ennismore report here. I'm sure as most of council is aware, the Ennismore Curling Club is a township-owned facility that is operated through an agreement with the Ennismore Curling Club executive, and by and large, they represent the membership. Despite curling having a few challenging years in the last little while, they still continue to be a very good partner who put away money every year for capital. And when they pay us rent, that money also gets put away for capital improvements, so that it's never a burden on the tax base. They have a new executive, and throughout COVID, when they had interruption of service and whatnot, they've gone through a few different executives. So we finally had a chance to sit down with their executive to discuss a lot of things, to go through the various parts of the agreement, but also to talk. Back in October, they had a failure of pumps and of control system on their septic. A fairly important piece to have. Especially since it was going to be the first year of operation with almost, well, over 200 members coming back. So it was going to be a bit of a burden, and 15 bonspiels. So it was going to get a workout. So they approached us at the time, and before we agreed to cost sharing on that, we wanted to have a sit down with Lane, myself, and Janice and their executive to just talk about the big picture, since it had been a number of years. So they went ahead with the project at around 14,000 after getting competitive quotes, and knew that at some point when we could in the spring, sit down and talk to them, because we also wanted to have some information like the odd report that informed them about some potential capital work that needs to happen. So once we sat down, we did get a chance to take a look at their costs, really break down what were operational costs and what were true capital costs. And the $14,007.50 really was, it was more than that it cost them, but some of them it was for pump out, some of it was for a few other things. That was the amount that we could agree really was something that has in the past history, or over the last few years, has been something that would qualify as a shared item in the capital. So I believe it's section 7 of their agreement says that all capital over 7 or over 10,000 will be negotiated and discussed. It needs to be approved by township, which they did. They went through us to make sure it was okay to go ahead and do it, but that we would look at the financial impact. So we decided that this is something that falls within that. It's good for the township, and we do have reserves that we set aside from their rent. So they pay us a rent that does escalate by 3% every year, and it is around $3,200 a year right now. That gets put aside and has been for years and years. We drew from that, and we're just looking for council's approval to share in that expense with the curling club, which, they did say that as long as we share in this, they will be in the red for what's the good one? Red or black, Lane? That's right.
It's
They'll be in the
bad.
black. It doesn't make sense to me. They'll be in the black this year if we do. Not that had a major effect, but by looking at the agreement and going with past practice, it really did seem, and it was a very reasonable price by local contractors to get them back afloat.
Are there any questions? Deputy Mayor Black.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Sennis. So the curling club's on its own septic system. I thought the community center arena they all went to the same septic bed.
Through you, Madam Mayor, no, they have
No.
their own septic on the
All their own
complete
stuff,
opposite
their
side. They're on the,
injectors and all that are all their own.
they're on the cash L side. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Kulis.
Through you, I just want to clarify, what's the timing on this? Because I'm wondering if it's going to affect festivals this summer and other individuals using the facility.
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, once again, it's all done. They
Oh,
did the
sorry.
work in October.
Sorry.
They, yeah, to
misunderstood
get
that.
things started up, they had no choice. And they were doing it, hoping that we would be able to, hoping they would be able to negotiate a share,
Okay,
but
sorry.
knowing that they had to do it anyways.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and if there's no other questions, we have a recommendation before us. And I'm looking for someone to move it. Counselor Henry and Counselor Coulis, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you. Rob, can we squeeze you in for our report on the housekeeping on our building bylaw? Mr. Kelly.
I believe we can. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, I have a report before council today, just to inform them of a little bit of housekeeping work we're doing. As council's aware, effective April 1st, we took over new sewage system applications, and as part of our maintenance of our building bylaw, we've moved forward with updating that to reflect application requirements and taking care of a few other administrative cleanups within that bylaw. You'll note in the report that it does indicate that we are reaching out to the Regional Chief Justice to reinstate the fines that we had under the current in effect bylaw. We're not proposing any amendments or changes to those. And if council has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions with this report? Deputy Mayor Black.
Through you, Mayor Senate, just one question. So with the transition, the PPH are still going to have staff until the end of the year, I think, to work more of a consulting basis. So is there a share? Are we sharing the permit fees after January, after we take over fully in June?
Through you, Mayor, we took over all new applications effective April 1st. Any existing or open applications, Pureblood Public Health is sort of stick handling those until final divestment in November. I'm not sure what date in November, but later this year.
Yeah.
So if they can close those existing open files, they will do that. And I believe there is been some discussion about any permits that they don't close, some cost provision or sharing of the fees that they had originally collected, but I don't know any of the details around that specifically at this time.
Sure. Follow up. So at this point, any new application, the municipality is getting the full fee.
Through your Mayor Senate, yes, we have, and we have started. We've already processed a few, and I'm working on that program.
Perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Are there any other questions of Rob? Then I'm looking for someone to move the recommendations before us. Deputy Mayor Black, Counselor Henry, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you. We have consent items here. Is there anything that anyone on council wants pulled? If not, I'm looking for someone to move the consent items. Counselor Henry, Counselor Boyko seconding, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much. My goodness, we're just whipping through this. Okay, so we have other new and unfinished business. We have a couple of council meetings to schedule. The first one is at 5 p.m. on Monday, June the 17th for our OP's zoning bylaw public meeting for Lovesick Lake. That'll be a ton of fun. And we also have 9 a.m. Thursday, September the 26th, a joint meeting with Curve Lake First Nation, Trent Lakes, and North Kawartha. And we are going to be hosting. And at this point, we don't have a location. Okay.
No, we don't have a location yet, so we'll get that organized here in the next little bit.
Okay, thank you. Can I have someone move those new meetings? Counselor Coulis and Deputy Mayor Black, all in favor? It's carried, thank you. AMO delegation requests. The deadline's June the 7th. Are there any that we feel we have a burning desire to talk to some ministers? Counselor Coulis.
Through you, from our previous conversation with Chief Gord for fire department, I think we should talk to them about raising money for training and equipment, if possible, on their behalf. I honestly can't remember which minister that is because they keep changing the name of the departments.
Safety and Community Services or something. All right, does the rest of council feel that we should be doing that? Okay, so if you can please set a delegation up for us.
Yeah, we can do that. It might be good to have a resolution just to have council endorse that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Counselor Poulos is moving that we have a delegation to that minister, what they're called now. And I need a seconder. Counselor Boyko, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We can't do the bylaws yet because we haven't dealt with the public meeting, so we're going to have to maybe take a 5-minute break.
Yes,
And
hello.
At 1:30.
Hello. Hmm.
All right, we are how many seconds from 1:30? We are going to be having a public meeting for a zoning bylaw amendment, and I will turn this over to our planner to announce the purpose of the meeting.
Thank you, Your Worship. Township of Selwyn is holding a public meeting today to consider two zoning bylaw amendment applications to amend the zoning bylaw for the Township of Selwyn in accordance with section 34 of the Planning Act. The prescribed notice of public meeting has been provided by tongue-tied today. Provided by prepaid first-class mail to all residents within a 120-meter radius of the property subject to the applications, as well as by a sign posted on the properties. The notice was provided via email to prescribed ministries and agencies. The notices are also available on the township's website. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Selwyn before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to be appealed the decision of the council of the Township of Selwyn to the Ontario Land Tribunal, nor can a person or public body be added as a party to a hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. So the first application we have today is for file number C03-24. This is for 23 and 27 Prospect Street. This application, the zoning amendment is related to consent applications B1-24 and B2-24 that are provided provisional consent by the County of Peterborough. The zoning amendments are conditions of these severances. The particular lot is being divided into roughly, so there's two residents currently on this lot. The original lot merged together inadvertently legally. So this will create smaller lots around the existing residence, and there'll be a retained parcel that's larger behind the existing residences with frontage on Kirkwood. The zoning amendment is needed to address a comment from the Tonabee Region Conservation Authority due to both the township and the Conservation Authority are aware of a high water table at 66 Ermitinger, which is the adjacent lot to the west that extends partially into this lot. We don't currently have accurate mapping for that high water table, so the environmental impact study is needed in order to map that out before development can occur on the larger retained parcel. There are no plans currently for the retained parcel. The zoning is remaining residential type 1. So provided the holding zone is lifted at a future date, satisfying the holding zone provision to have that EIS completed, the only type of development that can occur is a single detached dwelling. Any other development would have to go, like multi-unit, for example, would have to go through another zoning amendment as well as an official plan amendment. Let's see here. So in terms of agency comments, and Enbridge and the County of Peterborough Public Works Department have submitted comments of no concern. Orca is also in support of the amendment as given the holding provision for the EIS. We have one comment that I received early this morning from a Justine Haney in opposition to the development. She's concerned over wildlife on the property, including foxes and deer, and the impacts of development on these animals. Also concerned about general growth of build as far as I'm just trying to give you a synopsis, but generally concerned over the general growth and development of Lakefield and the increased traffic and lack of infrastructure like grocery stores, etc., and bridges into the village not being able to handle growth and development in Lakefield. So there's just a general growth and development concern, and then also concerned over loss of the field for neighborhood neighbors to be able to walk their dogs on that property. And then also just concern over a multi-unit development going in at that property. But as I explained already, there's no such current plans for that larger retained parcel. From a planning perspective, I'm in support of the application as noted in my report. It's conforms to the official plan, conforms to the growth plan, is consistent with the provincial policy statement, and I recommend the zoning amendment be approved.
Thank you very much. So I understand that we have the applicant who is a proponent to the application online. Is that correct? So Aaron Wright. Oh, you're here. Okay, I had you down as virtual. Is there anything you'd like to add to the report?
It's on
You'll have to go to the mic behind you.
Just on the comment of, somebody be concerned about development. We don't have any development plans in place at all. Like Per said, it would allow for one single family home. In terms of, dogs or people walking their dogs on the land, well, they would actually be trespassing. It's not their land to be walking the dogs on. So other than that, I don't have much other to say.
Okay, thank you very much. And is Rhinout Westbrook here as well? Is he online?
Rhinout is on the line.
Yeah, I'm online right here.
And do you have anything to add to what has been said?
No, I just wanted to be in agreement that the zoning needs to have that amendment so that a study can be done on the property west of this piece of property. If there is going to be any development, there is quite a large wetland in there. And as I've heard, there was another lady who was concerned about foxes and deer. I know they're not endangered, but I wonder about what kind of wildlife is in that wetland that is behind my property, but beside the one that's being talked about. That would be the only concern that I have, but otherwise, that's why I'm in favor of the amendment, so that it can't go forward without the study being done.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. And is there anyone else here that's speaking in favor of this application? All right, I understand that online, we'll go online first and then I'll come to the audience. I understand there are a couple of questions. Beatrice O'Connell, is she on the line? You have a question for us, ma'am?
Beatrice, could you unmute, please, if you would like to ask a question?
I have no questions to ask other than we've been using that area behind us to walk across through to Kirkwood. And not only us, but several of the neighbors and some of the children walk across there to go to school. That's my only concern, that they would block it off so that we couldn't do that. It is damp there.
Okay, would someone like to speak to that?
Yeah, so through your worship, as noted by the property owner, crossing that property at present time would currently constitute trespassing. It's private property.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there an Adrian and Kathleen Shields on the line?
Yes, Adrian Shields. I have no questions or anything. I live on the property, so I'm just here out of general curiosity to observe the meeting.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. And is there anyone that is here that speaks in opposition that would like to take the microphone? Okay, thank you. So I will, are there any other questions from the floor? People have? No? All right, are there any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Black.
Thank you, through Mayor Senes, to Per. So it returns the two homes to their separate lots. They continue to be R1 residential. The retained portion is R1 and with the holding on it. And any future development would have to go through the full rezoning process. And what would they have to do for even to put a residence on there? Would they still have to go through natural heritage study or something like that to even put a residence on the property?
So through your worship. So the severed parcels will be zoned R1 and they'll have their own lots. There won't be any restrictions on development other than zoning restrictions. So variance may be needed if those two smaller residences, if they were to be redeveloped. The larger back lot with the holding symbol on it through the zoning amendment does need that environmental impact study completed before a building permit can be issued for a new residence on that lot. And again, yeah, a full, depending on the scope and scale of future development on the larger retained parcel, it would have to go through pre-consultation. If subdivision or condo was proposed, there obviously be county approvals involved. As well as even for just multi-unit development would require an official plan amendment requiring county approval as well as zoning approvals at the local level. And the site plan control may be involved as well, depending on what the type of development is, right? Right.
Well, yeah, so there's lots of opportunity for the public input at that stage, but even to put a single family home, they will have to do an environmental assessment on the property before they even get a building permit for that even.
Yeah, through your worship. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the holding symbol is a flag for our building department as well that they and our zoning is applicable law under the Building Code Act. So with that holding provision on it, a building permit cannot be issued even for the single detached dwelling until the environmental impact study has been reviewed and endorsed by the Conservation Authority as well as the township.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Okay, thank you. So we have a recommendation before us, and I'm looking for someone to move the motion. Councillor Henry, Councillor Koulis is seconding, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next application, please, Per.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is also related to a consent application. This is file number, our file number C04-24. Just for clarification, this is being initiated by the landowner, which is Triple T Developments. This is not the zoning amendment for the larger scale subdivision application. This is related to specifically consent or severance applications B101-22, B102-22, B104-22, and B101-23. All that's occurring here is there's 3 new lots, and then the 4th lot is being done by lot addition. It's a boundary adjustment. It's creating a lot for the former landowner for a lot on 7th line. So it's just going to create a rural residential lot around an existing residence. So the lots on, there's 1 lot off of Seaforth and two off of Lakefield Road. The lot off of Seaforth is undersized in terms of lot frontage, and the lots on Lakefield Road are undersized with regard to lot area. So special exception zoning is needed to address and provide for those reduced lot frontages and or areas. B10, the lot addition for the that creates the lot on 7th line meets zoning requirements. It's just being rezoned to rural residential from the development D zone, which is currently in effect. The development D zone for all these parcels effectively make it so that no development can occur on those lands. So they're being zoned to residential lots so that building permits can be issued. And for the existing residents, it just allows that future owner of that property to redevelop or that land or put accessory structures in accordance with our zoning bylaw and obtain building permits for those. In terms of agency comments on this one, I have comments of no concern from Enbridge, Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, and Peterborough Public Health. Hiawatha First Nation had a concern regarding the protection of Rays Creek. I would just say on that note, council may be aware, remember that official plan amendment number 71 was passed last year to permit these severances to go ahead. A number of reports were submitted in support of that official plan amendment, including a planning justification report, a hydrological assessment, a stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment, and an environmental impact study. So the EP zoning on the severed parcels along Lakefield Road is being slightly altered as a result of the peer review on the EIS. So there will be expanded EIS areas, EP environmental protection areas on 2 of the severed lots. Just to address that concern that Hiawatha First Nation has expressed. Other than that, I find that the application conforms to the official plan, is consistent with the provincial policy statement, and conforms to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. I do recommend this application for approval. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take those.
Okay, thank you very much. And I understand in attendance is Chris Conti, planner with Echo View. Is there anything you'd like to add to what's been said? Please take the mic. Okay.
So I just want to support or thank you for allowing me to appear before you today, Madam Mayor and members of council. Just want to support what Mr. Lundberg said. The lands are being rezoned as a result of consents. 4 consents that were granted by the county. Residential use is appropriate on a portion of the lands. And as Mr. Lundberg said, Rays Creek does affect some of the properties, and it's being appropriately zoned to protect Rays Creek, the function of the creek in the valley for those lots. So we feel that the zoning bylaw amendment is appropriate. It was imposed as a condition of the consents being granted. We feel that there's a need for residential use, as I'm sure council knows. So we'd ask that council support the recommendation of Mr. Lundberg and approve the zoning bylaw amendment.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Is there anyone else in attendance that is in favor of this application? Would like to speak? I have someone here that is in opposition, so we'll go to the opponents. Gary Atwood.
I'm here.
It's your turn, sir.
Thank you. I just like to first confirm that the lot on the 7th line is going to be used for road access to the proposed subdivision that is going to be developed. Is that correct?
Would like to answer that.
So through your worship, so it is a separate application, the subdivision application. It's not being dealt with at present time through this zoning amendment. As present time, though, that land adjacent to the proposed new lot addition lot for the existing residents on 7th line is remaining development D zone, which doesn't allow any development to occur. So before that, the larger remnant parcel or retained parcel is used for anything, a future zoning amendment and official plan amendments will have to be approved.
All right. So that said, the use of that land, if it was going to be used as access to the subdivision proposed to the north, that will be at a later date under a different plan, correct?
Absolutely.
Through your worship, that's correct. Yeah, those issues will be addressed at a later date through a public meeting on the subdivision, official plan amendment and zoning amendments needed for the larger scale subdivision.
Okay. That said, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And then we have some questions. If the people are online, Connie Tinney.
Connie, if you would like to add anything, please unmute. She might not have any questions. We've got to chat with her, so we'll see if she wants to add
Okay,
anything.
and we, Robert Mumby, is he?
Mr. Mumby's not on the line.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else here that is opposed to the application that would like to take the microphone? Can you please go up, identify yourself and give us your address, sir?
Hi, my name's Chris Ross. I'm on 1988 7th line. And I'm looking for clarification. So I'm wondering, what is the purpose of the rezone?
So through your worship, as I stated earlier in the presentation, these are zoning amendments related to consent applications with the county of Peterborough. So the lots are being created through what's called severance consent. It's a simpler process than plan a subdivision. It's usually done when you don't need new infrastructure to be put in place, like new municipal services or roads. An official plan amendment was passed last year, allowing for these 4 lots to be created by consent. As a result of that, the current zoning for those lots is development D zone, which doesn't permit residential development. So as a condition of the severance, we're rezoning those severed lots to rural residential in the case of the lot on the 7th line and residential type 1, which allows for single detached dwelling on the 3 lots that are before us, on 2 of which are on Lakefield Road and 1 of which is off Seaforth.
Okay, so my question then is regarding I don't have any issues with any of the other lots. So you refer to it as, so there's a stone house there now and a barn, which, if I'm understanding what you're saying, is that they're severing off the stone house lot, and then there'll be 2 more residential lots beside it.
So through your worship, no. So there's only 1 lot on the 7th line where the current existing residence is for the former farm property that Triple T now owns. The other 2 lots, there's 2 lots on Lakefield Road beside each other, well away around the bend, and then there's one lot off of Seaforth.
Right. I don't have any issues with those ones. The clarity I'm looking for here is, once, so the lot on 2036 7th line, it's a large lot. It's probably what, 300 or 400 feet wide. So it's going to be narrowed down to 2 lots. It's going to be changed to 2 lots or 3.
No, there's only going to be 1 lot for the existing residents. The rest of the property is going to be remaining with the larger remnant or retained parcel for which will be part of then the future subdivision development.
It will be. Okay. Yeah, so I'd just like to state my opposition to the highway that would be going through that, where the barn currently is now on that property of 2036.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else that's here to speak in opposition to this application? Could you please go to the mic, give your name, your address, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Shelley Merton. I am the property owner at 2046 7th line. The proposal that involves the severance of the strip of land runs directly against my property line. And I have no problems with the other pieces that are up, but the particular one involving 2036, my neighbor, I am in opposition. If this bylaw goes, that is the first step to allowing the later steps of, from what I understand, the later steps of the approval process that would lead to that becoming an access road. So therefore, I would like to see that not pass, so that that section is not severed from the lot on 2036 and beginning that step of an access road. I have personally very strong concerns involving my water table, involving my property values, as well as the safety and security of myself living beside a road where there is no protection. So those are my reasons why I would ask that that particular bylaw be opposed and not pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak? in opposition to this application? Seeing none, I will bring it to council. Deputy Mayor Black.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Senes, through Pear, Ms. Merton's concerns around water table, et cetera. Any of the new development will be on services?
Through your worship, that is the intention, yes, that the Triple T subdivision will be fully serviced municipal water and sewer.
Yeah, I know we're not talking about that particular, the project I know today, but that's the intent, is that would all be serviced with municipal water, so the local water table shouldn't be impacted dramatically. With respect to that being an entrance into potential redevelopment of the property, what would typically be a requirement as far as the 7th line has virtually no shoulders? There's no walking surface, and the increase in volume on that road. How would the township deal with that in the future if that was to become an entrance into a fairly large development?
So through your worship, so the suitability in terms of traffic flows for the entrance into the Triple T lands, as well as the existing increasing the traffic loads on 7th line, will be addressed through traffic impact analysis as part of the subdivision application, and that is peer reviewed, and any upgrades identified through those peer reviewed reports will be part of the subdivision agreement to be dealt with by Triple T as part of the subdivision development.
And thanks for the clarification.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none, we do have a recommendation before us, and I'm looking for someone to move that recommendation, please. Councillor Henry is moving it. Councillor Koulis is seconding it. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. And we will now move on to our bylaws. Madam Clerk.
So we have bylaw 23, the zoning bylaw amendment for 23 and 27 Prospect Street. Bylaw 24, the zoning bylaw amendment for the recent application that we just listened to, lot 26 and 27 in concession 7 Lakefield. Bylaw to appoint number 25 to appoint Brian Henry to the Peterborough County OPP detachment. 26, bylaw to authorize an agreement to assume policing services for the Ennismore and Smith wards. 27, the new building bylaw, and 28, a bylaw to authorize an agreement with OPG for a portion of the Lakefield Trail that runs along OPG lands.
Thank you very much. So I'm looking for someone to approve these bylaws. Deputy Mayor Black, Councillor Henry, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Mover for the confirming bylaw. Councillor Koulis, Councillor Boyko, all in favor? That is carried. A move to adjourn. Councillor Henry, Deputy Mayor Black, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you very much.